Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Podcast Every Day.
We are so glad you are here with us today.
Today, we are discussing whether social media should be limited for teenagers.
This is a big topic because social media can be fun, creative, useful, distracting, and stressful all at once.
Exactly, it can help teenagers connect, learn, and express themselves, but it can also affect focus, sleep, and mood.
For English learners, this topic is excellent for practicing opinions, balanced arguments, and respectful disagreement.
We will learn phrases for talking about screen time, healthy boundaries, online habits, and personal responsibility.
You will hear two realistic conversations where people discuss limits without sounding controlling or judgmental.
We will also compare simple B1 opinions with stronger B2 English for this sensitive modern topic.
So imagine a family, a school, or a workplace wellness discussion where people need to talk about social media carefully.
Let us begin with the key vocabulary for discussing social media limits in a balanced way.
Before our first conversation, let us learn how to talk about social media limits without sounding too strict or too careless. When people discuss teenagers and social media, the conversation can become emotional very quickly.
That is because social media is not only entertainment, it is also communication, creativity, learning, identity, and social life.
So a balanced conversation should avoid extremes like ban everything or allow everything.
Our first key phrase is screen time. Screen time means the amount of time someone spends using a phone, computer, tablet, or television.
For example, too much screen time before bed can make it harder to relax.
Another example is, I am trying to reduce my screen time during homework hours.
Our second phrase is set boundaries. Boundaries are limits that protect your time, energy, and attention.
For example, families can set boundaries around social media during meals.
Or a teenager might set a boundary by turning off notifications while studying.
Our third phrase is online habits. Habits are repeated behaviors, so online habits are the way someone usually uses the internet or apps.
For example, checking social media every few minutes can become an online habit.
Another example is healthy online habits include taking breaks and choosing what you follow carefully.
Our fourth phrase is affect concentration. If something affects your concentration, it changes your ability to focus.
For example, constant notifications can affect concentration during study time.
Or late-night scrolling can affect concentration the next morning.
Our fifth phrase is find a healthy balance. This means use social media in a way that supports life instead of taking over life.
For example, I do not think teenagers need to avoid social media completely, but they do need to find a healthy balance.
Another example is a healthy balance might include time for school, sleep, hobbies, friends, and online fun.
Notice that limited does not always mean banned.
Exactly, limited can mean guided, structured, reduced, or used with clearer rules.
A common mistake is saying, social media is bad for teenagers. That sounds too general.
A better sentence is social media can be useful, but teenagers may need boundaries around screen time and notifications.
In our first conversation, Michael and Nicole discuss whether social media limits would help students focus and sleep better.
Now let us listen to Michael and Nicole discuss social media limits, screen time, and healthy boundaries for teenagers.
Nicole, what do you think about schools encouraging social media limits for teenagers?
I think it depends on what kind of limits we mean.
That is fair. I do not mean banning every app completely.
Then I probably agree. Some teenagers need help setting boundaries around screen time.
Exactly. Notifications can affect concentration during homework or class.
Yes, but social media is not only a distraction. It can also help people learn and stay connected.
I agree. That is why I think the goal should be a healthy balance, not punishment.
That wording matters. If adults say social media is bad, teenagers may stop listening.
Right, it sounds more respectful to say, let us look at your online habits.
Exactly. Online habits can be changed without treating teenagers like they are irresponsible.
What kind of boundary would be reasonable?
Maybe no social media during homework time, or no scrolling in bed at night.
That sounds practical. It limits the habit, not the whole person.
Exactly. And teenagers should be part of the conversation.
Why is that important?
Because if the rule is only forced from above, it may create resistance.
So instead of saying, give me your phone, a parent could ask, when does social media make it harder for you to focus?
Yes, that question invites reflection.
And maybe the teenager can say, it affects my concentration when I study, but it helps me relax after school.
That is a balanced answer. Then the limit can match the problem.
So the issue is not social media itself. It is when and how it is used.
Exactly. A healthy balance means social media should fit around life, not control life.
I like that it is not anti-technology. It is pro-balance.
And limits can be adjusted as teenagers show responsibility.
That is important. A 13-year-old and a 17-year-old may need different kinds of guidance.
Yes, because independence should grow with responsibility.
So our position is not ban social media for teenagers.
Right. Our position is set healthy boundaries and teach better online habits,
That sounds balanced and realistic.
and more likely to actually work. Let us analyze how Michael and Nicole discussed social media limits without sounding extreme or judgmental. Nicole began with, I think it depends on what kind of limits we mean.
That is a strong opening because it avoids a simple yes or no answer.
The phrase it depends is very useful for balanced opinions.
Michael clarified that he did not mean banning every app completely.
Clarifying is important because the word limit can sound strict if you do not explain it.
They used the phrase set boundaries around screen time.
That sounds more positive than control teenagers or take away their phones.
They also said notifications can affect concentration.
Affect is a useful verb here. It means influence or change something.
Michael and Nicole did not describe teenagers as lazy or irresponsible.
Instead, they focused on habits. Habits can be discussed, adjusted, and improved.
Nicole made an important point. Teenagers should be part of the conversation.
That phrase is excellent because it supports guidance and respect at the same time.
They also used the phrase social media should fit around life, not control life.
That is memorable and balanced. It does not reject technology, but it puts real life first.
The big pattern is clarify the limit, explain the reason, include the teenager, and adjust as responsibility grows.
When you use that pattern, your opinion sounds careful, realistic, and respectful.
Now let us learn how to discuss freedom, trust, safety, and responsibility when talking about teenagers and social media. In the first half, we focused on screen time and healthy boundaries.
Now let us go deeper, because teenagers also need independence, trust, and digital skills.
A rule can protect someone, but if it is too strict, it may prevent them from learning responsibility.
So our new phrases will help you talk about limits that guide, not control.
Our first new phrase is digital responsibility. This means using technology in a thoughtful, safe, and respectful way.
For example, teenagers need digital responsibility, not just strict rules.
Another example is schools can teach digital responsibility by discussing privacy, attention, and respectful communication.
Our second phrase is age-appropriate limits. Age-appropriate means suitable for someone's age and level of maturity.
For example, younger teenagers may need more structure, while older teenagers may need more independence.
Another example is, age-appropriate limits can change as a teenager shows better judgment.
Our third phrase is build trust. To build trust means to create confidence through honest and responsible behavior.
For example, a teenager can build trust by following agreed screen time limits.
Or parents can build trust by explaining the reason behind rules instead of just saying, "because I said so."
Our fourth phrase is open conversation. An open conversation is honest, respectful, and not based on fear or blame.
For example, open conversations about social media can help teenagers ask for advice when they feel unsure online.
Or, an open conversation works better than a secret argument over phone use.
Our fifth phrase is not a one-size-fits-all solution. This means one rule will not work perfectly for everyone.
For example, social media limits are not a one-size-fits-all solution because teenagers have different needs and responsibilities.
A common mistake is saying teenagers cannot control themselves, so adults must control everything.
A better version is, teenagers may need age-appropriate limits while they develop digital responsibility.
That version is firm, but it is also respectful.
In our second conversation, Adam and Sky discuss whether limits should be strict rules or shared agreements. Now Adam and Sky will discuss freedom, trust, and age-appropriate limits for teenagers using social media.
Sky, do you think social media limits for teenagers should be strict?
I think they should be clear, but not necessarily strict in the same way for everyone.
So you mean age-appropriate limits?
Exactly. A younger teenager might need more guidance, while an older teenager might need more trust and independence.
That makes sense. But how do adults know when to give more freedom?
They can look for digital responsibility.
What would that look like in real life?
It could mean finishing homework before scrolling, turning off notifications during study time, and taking breaks when needed.
So responsibility is not about never using social media.
Right, it is about using it in a way that does not damage school, sleep, relationships, or real-life activities.
I like that definition. It sounds practical.
Also, adults should build trust through open conversation, not only through monitoring.
What is the difference?
Monitoring checks behavior. Open conversation helps teenagers understand decisions and ask questions.
So both can have a place, but conversation teaches more.
Exactly. If teenagers only hear, "do not use that app," they may not learn why the limit exists.
A better approach might be, let us talk about how this app affects your sleep and focus.
Yes, that invites problem solving.
Do you think one rule can work for all teenagers?
Not really. Social media limits are not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Because teenagers have different ages, schedules, interests, and responsibilities.
Exactly. A teenager who uses social media to follow educational content may need different guidance from someone who mainly scrolls when tired or bored.
That is a good distinction. The purpose matters.
Yes, 2 hours of learning, a skill is different from 2 hours of endless scrolling.
So maybe the question is not just how much time, but what kind of use.
Exactly. Time, purpose, mood, and impact all matter.
I would support limits if they help teenagers develop digital responsibility.
I agree. Limits should be a bridge to responsibility, not a permanent wall.
That is a strong phrase. A bridge, not a wall.
Yes, the goal is guidance, trust, and healthier choices.
So we are not saying no limits, and we are not saying total control.
Right, we are saying thoughtful limits with open conversations.
Let us compare simple opinions about social media with more natural B2 English for balanced discussions. A B1 speaker might say, social media is bad for teenagers.
The meaning is clear, but it sounds too general and too strong.
A B2 version is, social media can be useful, but teenagers may need boundaries around screen time and notifications.
That sentence is better because it recognizes both benefits and risks.
Another B1 sentence is, parents must control phones.
A softer B2 version is, parents may need to guide phone use with age-appropriate limits and open conversations.
May need to is softer than must, and guide is less controlling than control.
Let us talk about softeners. Phrases like it depends, may, might in some cases, and not necessarily help you sound balanced.
Compare, teenagers cannot use social media responsibly, with some teenagers may need more support developing digital responsibility.
The second sentence is more respectful and more accurate because it does not judge all teenagers the same way.
Now a grammar fix. Say, limit social media use, not limit using social media too much in every situation.
Social media use is a clean noun phrase. For example, schools may limit social media use during class.
Another grammar fix is effect versus effect.
Say, notifications affect concentration. Or say, notifications have an effect on concentration.
A strong B2 opinion has a balanced structure. On the one hand, social media helps teenagers connect and learn.
On the other hand, too much screen time can affect sleep, concentration, and real-life activities.
Then add your conclusion. That is why I support age-appropriate limits and open conversations.
That sounds mature, because it offers guidance without ignoring freedom.
The goal is to explain a careful position, not to win an argument.
When you use balanced English, sensitive topics become easier to discuss respectfully.
Let us review the vocabulary, grammar, and conversation strategies from today's episode about limiting social media for teenagers. Today, we learned how to discuss whether social media should be limited for teenagers.
The main goal is to avoid extremes and talk about guidance, balance, and responsibility.
From the first part, remember screen time, set boundaries, online habits, affect concentration, and find a healthy balance.
In Conversation 1, Michael and Nicole discussed limits around homework, bedtime, notifications, and respectful conversations with teenagers.
They agreed that the goal is not punishment, but healthy online habits.
From the second part, remember digital responsibility, age-appropriate limits, build trust, open conversation, and not a one-size-fits-all solution.
In Conversation 2, Adam and Sky discussed how limits can guide teenagers toward responsibility instead of simply controlling them.
We compared B1 and B2 language. B1 says, social media is bad. B2 says, social media can be useful, but teenagers may need boundaries around screen time.
For grammar, remember the phrase social media use when you need a clean noun phrase.
Also remember affect and effect. Notifications affect concentration. Notifications have an effect on concentration.
A strong opinion has 4 parts. Recognize the benefits, explain the risks, suggest age-appropriate limits, and support open conversation.
The main lesson is that limits work best when they are clear, respectful, flexible, and connected to real-life goals.
Balanced English helps you discuss technology, teenagers, and responsibility with care and confidence. That is all for today's episode of English Podcast Every Day.
We hope you feel more confident discussing social media limits for teenagers in English.
This week, practice one balanced sentence about technology and responsibility.
Try saying, social media can be useful, but teenagers may need age-appropriate boundaries.
If this episode helped you, subscribe and listen again to practice the vocabulary, rhythm, and pronunciation.
Remember, a good discussion is not about blaming technology. It is about making thoughtful choices.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you in the next episode.